Hello world, this is ComputerHeat and I'm bringing another shoutcast, and today I have a very special guest. He's the winner along with Twister of the SNF Beta 2v2 tournament and is none other than Mr. DanielD.
What's going on, guys?
So today we've got a replay that was sent to me by a mid-level Soviet player, and he wants to know how to improve his game. So hopefully DanielD will be able to provide us some enlightenment. And before we switch over to him, we're going to look at who the opponent is in this game, and that's BasiloneReborn. So Basilone's playing as the Germans, and since I'm not going to be observing him, we'll just take a look at his commanders. He's got Joint Operations, Lightning War, and Elite Troops at his disposal. And we're both paused at 5 seconds. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
All right, well, I'm going to count us in, and we'll unpause in 3, 2, 1, go. So, epawli is the Soviet play that we're going to be following. And how about you fill us in on what commanders he's got?
He's got Lend-Lease, which has the Dishka supply drop, conscript repair, M5, assault group, and the Sherman. That's one of the new ones. He's also got the one that the flavor of the month, the guard motor coordination, which has guard rifle, and the 120 mil crew repair mark target, and crucially, the double 3485s. He's also got one of my favorite commanders, although it's not usable in tournaments, so I haven't been practicing with it. The advanced warfare, which has the radio intercept, PPSH, conscript repair, the Sturmovik strafe, and the single 3045. And that strafe's really cool because it's a single pass for, I believe, 90 munitions. So you can spam that thing all day. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's really got a tone down, but it's still potent if you pull it off at the right time.
So the first thing I want to talk about is epawli's choice to go south. I think on this map, for both players, the munitions is really important because in the early game, I mean, fuel is nice. You can, if you have a strategy that involves teching quickly. But in general, I'm of the opinion that getting the munitions earlier is better because you can leverage munitions immediately into winning engagements, whereas fuel doesn't win you engagements for whatever it is, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes. And so I think by not going to the middle, he's giving up probably the most important part on this map.
I can see he's spreading out his forces quite a bit. What do you think about that in the early game? Are you like try to cap as much territory as possible, or do you want to try to pick a fight as soon as you're able?
I actually think that's up to the player and also sort of determined by the map. This map, especially a snow map where it can be hard to get around during blizzards, I prefer doing what he's doing, which is spreading out. I think that it's okay if you've got a specific idea, like you know that your opponent wants to play the south and you think you can, if you spot a squad somewhere else, then you can engage. But it's usually pretty risky to force an early game engagement because, you know, if you lose it, then you've lost a lot of map control. So I prefer to just cap the map most of the time.
Yeah, we can definitely see that Basilone's not even contesting the north at all yet. He's just gone totally for the south and is pushing hard there, so he probably is not going to be able to hold on at all.
Right, I mean, this is exactly what happens when you do decide to keep all your units together and attack, is if the other guys spread out, then you'll easily win engagements. And I think that for Wehrmacht, especially if you're building an MG42, you're going to want to do what Basilone is doing and commit to one side of the map, because conscripts are better one-on-one against Grens because, you know, they can close in, whereas Grens are better at long range, so when they're clumped together, their DPS goes up significantly and they can focus down squads.
Now, right as you mentioned the MG42, I see it walk over and set up. Oh, we have some early mines down from epawli. So right there in the middle munitions point.
That's smart. That's a good spot. Looks like his map control, this is pretty much what you want as the Soviet player. I think if you have the middle, and he's going to have all 3 VPs, which is really nice. I think people neglect VP pressure a little bit still, and they tick pretty dang fast, so I think that's a really good move.
Yeah, I played a few games against epawli, and he definitely goes very strong for the early VP pressure. I mean, obviously it's important in the long run, but I don't know. The theory is like you're gonna maybe try to cause your opponent to tilt some, but Basilone's a good player. He's not gonna let, you know, a few early VP ticks totally throw off his game.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another. If we're talking about things not to do, the Molotov that's being thrown here. If the Molotov's not going to win you an engagement or force a squad off the field, oh, the mine goes off in the middle, kills 2 models. If the Molotov's not going to guarantee you anything, it's a real waste, especially if you're going to lose health and manpower to throw it. It's always really tempting, you know, when you've got Molotovs, you want to throw them right away, but you really need to do concerted flanks. Like, he has these 2 squads in the north, and he should have waited with that conscript squad that he used and attacked with all of his conscripts at once instead.
Now we see another MG out for Basilone, so that makes me think that going for Molotovs this early was a good idea. But what do you look for when picking what kind of infantry upgrades to go for? Wow, there's quite a little infantry task force from Basilone over on the left.
Yeah, he's playing a dangerous game there. He's pretty far into enemy territory. A lot of it's map dependent. This is a great map for Molotovs if you don't go tier 1. A lot of it is build dependent as well. Like, if you're going tier 1, you're going to want to get flamers and then probably get DPs on guards, and so I don't go Molotovs. But anytime I'm going to play 4 conscripts on a map like this that's got lots of flanking routes, I think Molotovs after the 3rd or 4th conscript is good. And then as far as other upgrades, you pretty much always are going to get AT nades very shortly afterwards, just because you've spent so much fuel already on infantry that you're not going to be able to tech in time to defend the scout car. So it's always good to have the AT nades.
Wow, I see that epawli's got Basilone completely cut off from every sector at this point. And he's
got a good flank going.
Yeah, he does. He put up tier 2, and he's gotten a Maxim. And right now, he's got enough manpower to get something else. What do you think about the Maxim as a... that was a bit of a... conscripts ran into their own Molotov.
Yeah, that's another good example of the kind of Molotov you don't really want to throw, especially the ones that light your own dudes on fire. It's generally not the state you want your infantry to be in.
Yeah, they learned the difference between flammable and inflammable, which is to say there is none.
I think the Maxim's an interesting choice. I would rather, since you knew that there was 2 MGs, the Maxim is kind of like you can go toe-to-toe with the MG, but it's better to hard counter what your opponent's got rather than get something that's equivalent. And I feel like if he had gotten a mortar, he could have done a lot more damage than he's going to be able to do with this Maxim. But the Maxim's a safer choice, definitely. I think that the mortar ultimately would probably pay more dividends.
We see that he's gotten yet another conscript squad. A couple of them are sitting idle in the base, and obviously that's not something you want to do. But,
yeah.
It doesn't really require any more commentary than that.
It's a tough thing to do. I think a really good habit that you'll see some of the good players doing is constantly going and looking at their base for stuff. I mean, this is mostly the guys who don't use the attack map or the mini map. You'll see them like always going back to the HQ to make sure that they haven't forgotten a unit. I prefer using the mini map and the attack map so that I know for sure before I go there. But I think either way, it's just you need to have this habit of always making sure that your units in the base are getting healed up and moving back out.
Yeah, you never want your manpower sitting idle. Basilone's gotten an armored car, and if epawli's paying attention, he should be able to hear it through the fog of war, but you definitely should see it now. But he just put up tier 3, or is in the process of putting up tier 3. So he can't afford AT grenades.
No, he doesn't have nearly enough fuel. It's still gonna be multiple minutes until any vehicle comes out. Although he actually could go for the half track, which is only 30 fuel, and I think versus tier 2, it's actually pretty great. I think it's better at hunting down scout cars than the T-70 if you get the AA upgrade.
Yeah. Now, so in this kind of situation where your opponent has gotten something like this scout car, and you don't have any kind of AT, what would you be thinking?
Well, the scout car by itself, well, the scout car by itself is not actually that scary, because he's been dominating the infantry battle so much, and he's got so much of the map. I wouldn't really even be concerned, especially putting tier 3 up and knowing I can get a hard counter to the scout car. I feel like the scout car is one of those units where as long as you're teching and you haven't gone tier 1, you don't really need to worry about countering it right away. I mean, it can be a powerful unit, and is very good fire support, but it's not like a P4 or an Ostwind where he's gonna be able to drive it into your base and really do damage. So on this map, Basilone has to assume, because of how easy it is to get conscripts around corners, he has to assume that the guy's got 18 nades, and so he's not going to be able to be very aggressive with it. And I think that means that you don't have to worry about the 2-2-2 with a conscript opening, I think.
That's a good point. Also, epawli's had so much of the map for so long that Basilone's probably assuming that there will be mines down. I mean, he's already hit one.
Yeah.
So that's going to even further restrict the freedom of movement that this scout car is going to have.
Yeah, actually, that's another good point, just bringing up mines. He's got a lot of epawli, and since he doesn't look like he's going for the half-track, I think he could stand to put like a lot more mines in the north, especially since he's seen the Pios don't have sweepers, probably.
Yeah, I could easily see these Grens in the north going down to a demo charge.
Yeah.
I know your buddy Twister likes them.
Oh, yeah, demos are great. So here's another good learning experience, is being cognizant of red cover. This conscript on the VP charged across red cover to throw a Molotov, which already, like, it's real obvious what you're doing when you ooh out towards a unit with a conscript and you've thrown a bunch of Molotovs. Your opponent knows what you're doing, and I don't think that throwing one Molotov like that in an engagement that isn't large, is worthwhile. No. And crossing red cover, like, okay, if you're going to cross red cover and then be safe on the other side, then maybe that's okay. But if you know that you're going to cross red cover and then have to retreat back across it, you should just not go there to begin with.
That is an excellent point. Yeah, especially now with the recent changes. Oh, a conscript dies right there. That's too bad. That with the recent changes to, we have looks like a general retreat from epawli. Now he's got the T-70 out, and that, provided it doesn't get Fausted, ought to do pretty well.
Yeah, and it may even be worthwhile because the position they're in. You can be pretty confident that there's no pack like where say for example the Pigrens are. I'm actually a fan of eating fasts on purpose at this stage of the game because it delays things like Panzer Shreks and Teller mines and S mines and other upgrades. So it's one of those things where people will very frequently, they'll always fast you, right? It doesn't matter like what the position is because they want to slow down the T-70. But I think that's a lot. 25 munitions is a lot, and I think that it doesn't take very long to repair the T-70. So I wouldn't mind eating a fast right now.
This T-70 is just hanging out over here. Could be rushing up in the middle to help out this HMG.
Yeah, I would have liked to see a retreat a lot earlier on that.
Well, looks like the guy's got his secret prayer beads on, and he's going to make it back to base. Now, a couple idle squads up in the north, and they're down really low. If this scout car catches them, he could be in trouble and lose another squad.
Yeah.
Paulie's getting I see that he's getting a Zis, and in Basilone's base we have a pack up as a response to the T-70.
Yeah, I wonder if the ZIS isn't just sort of anticipating maybe the Stug 3 or the Tiger, or sorry, not the Tiger, or a Tier 3, because he doesn't, at this point, like, it's kind of nice for this versus the Scout Car, but this is a tough map to use AT guns on, and I almost, again, I think a mortar would still have been a good choice. This is an amazing map for mortars. Would be a better use of his manpower at this stage. But it's always good. I mean, I feel like if you're not confident on how much, if you're not sure how much fuel you've denied your opponent, I mean, you think, oh, maybe he's getting Tier 3. It's really never good to wait until you see armor to get the AT gun. So actually, that's it's not the worst decision in the world.
Yeah, you can see that. Well, since neither of us is looking at Basilone right now, we won't know what he's teched, but he's had a lot of trouble holding the fuel. epawli's, I mean, they've got about the same amount of fuel right now, but epawli has Tier 3 up, and he's already produced a unit out of it. Oh, this T-70 is getting shot by the pack. Is he going to make it out? Oh, that's a hard loss.
That's a bummer. Yeah, that was a little bit of an unfortunate thing for him. It's hard to remember to do this. Putting units near capture points. Ooh, did it conscript? I don't know. Putting units near capture points, VPs, and other points, they can't path around them at all, and so it's really dangerous to have them on your reverse path.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of that there. The T-70 tried to do a bit of a three-point turn, and well, that was good of him.
Yeah, now he's like really behind. Actually, he's thrown a lot of his fuel away. I mean, he's had more fuel, but Basilone hasn't lost any of his fuel, whereas a lot of the teching that epawli's done has sort of been negated by the fact that he lost that T-70.
I think the scout car is about to go down in the middle. And there it goes, but that's not such a big loss that Basilone can't take it. Now, if you were able to get in on this pack, that would be a big one. It doesn't have any conscripts around.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things you like with having 4 or 5 conscripts, that you've always got some on the field. But when you commit to a big attack like that, obviously it's not always gonna pan out that way.
So there's a T-34 coming out now, and well, that seems like a smart choice to me. But I see that we're now up to 8 command points for epawli, and he's not picked a commander. Now, I'm someone that likes to pick commanders pretty late. What's your thoughts on when to pick a commander?
Well, it's one of those things that really depends on what's going on in the game. If you go Tier 1, for example, and you see a scout car, sometimes you'll want to pick the guards right away. On this map, I've played against a few people. Ipkai is one of them who does this really well, who uses PPSH on this map. And then, obviously, again, you want to pick a commander early. But I personally, I don't usually... I try to avoid guards, although I end up using them a lot. I like to wait as long as possible. I think that's good. But there's frequently too many Soviet commanders that have good 2 and 3 CP abilities. So
now you said you like to avoid. First off, I want to note the VPs. Basilone is down to less than 200. epawli's only lost 8.
yeah,
So I think that explains why Basilone was so eager to send this pioneer off to try to take a VP. By the other VP, there's actually a mine guarding that little passage, so I don't think Basilone knows that it's there. These conscripts are going into a really dangerous spot. T1's squad is really getting focused down.
He wants to throw a Molotov, I already know. It's just, you can't...
Yeah. Oh boy.
Can't do that. Anytime you see a superior infantry force, it's... The only time where it's reasonable to fight an engagement like that is if you need to stall for some reason, because you're capping a VP, or because you're trying to retreat another unit that's vulnerable. Otherwise, if you have an engagement like that and you can't soft retreat away, you just immediately you gotta be the discretion is the better part of valor. You gotta run away.
I lose an MG up in the top, and at the bottom, the T-34 could take out this retreating pack.
Yeah, I think he's too busy microing in the middle.
Yeah, well, I mean, good to micro in the middle, but it may have been better to just avoid that fight altogether when he saw how much was coming towards him.
No question. He's bled. Now, if you look at the resources, Basilone's managed to float a lot of manpower because he's been winning all of these engagements. And
would you switch over to Basilone for a moment and see if he has picked a commander?
He has not picked. Okay. He does have, however, Tier 3 almost done,
yes.
And I will see what unit he's building a P4.
Saw the roof go onto that. Okay. So now we've got some PGs getting burned by these combat engineers. Oh man, they're not faring well.
That's good. But again, I almost feel like even though he did really well there, I would have just retreated because he's got this 42 that he's got to retreat through, and when you get to within like 10 meters of those things, they start to really hurt you. I guess he's trying to crawl out. Yeah, that was smart. Not
if
retreating.
his T-34 was a little more active, he'd really be doing some damage.
Yeah, it's really surprising. He's he knows that there's no way that there could be a pack in the north because he's got units where the pack would need to be. So it's really surprising that he's not got that thing doing some damage. It's basically done nothing since it came out.
See, Basilone is probably going to get pushed off here at the top. And the flamers catch these Brens on retreat.
It might even go down.
They're gonna...
Wow.
That is amazing.
We're lucky. I think,
Alright, Basilone, you don't get to complain about RNG today. I don't know if he's the guy that complains about RNG.
That was pretty good.
Oh,
it always feels like Grens are tougher at Vetu, even though I know they're not.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
The old hangover from Eco. Now, I saw that epawli used Ura there, but, I mean, they won't shoot while they're moving and Uraing.
Correct. So. Yeah, I was going to mention that actually. It's you don't want to do that. The only time that's worthwhile is when they if you're not going to be in range on the retreat path. You are out to get into range and then you stop as soon as you can.
Yes, comrade.
So once again, epawli is in total control of all the fuel, and Basilone is backed into a corner.
Yeah, I almost feel like epawli would have benefited from a little bit of more defensive play in a lot of stages of this game. He continued to attack when he had overwhelming map control, and it's sort of on your opponent at that stage to attack. And you know, there's something to be said for setting up good flanks, but a lot of the time, if you force your opponent to come to you, you can be in a much better position, especially because Grens are so crummy on the move when they're not in the cover they want to be in. They're not as powerful, so you know you can force your opponent into uncomfortable situations by having more of the map, and epawli sort of gave up those positions because he was overly aggressive.
Yeah. Speaking of Grens in cover, that was a good Molotov in this truck that the Grens were hiding behind. Unfortunately, an MG42 snuck up on the con, so they didn't get to capitalize on it. They had to run back to base. So this T-34 is just hanging out at the top. It's too bad. He's getting another one right now. I just heard the Zis fire. There we go. He's gotten up to Vet 1, so that's nice. He'll be able to use tracking, which good strong ability. Basilone's taken back a nice chunk of the map. He's got about half to himself.
Yeah, he's got the crucial parts. Oh, go ahead.
It looks like he's going to take the fuel at the bottom also.
Yeah, he's got the middle munitions, and what it allows him to do is hold everything else, right? Like, having the middle munitions means he can control that northern fuel, and it means he can control the southern VP as well.
This is a bad place for these conscripts to be in. Now, he kind of had Basilone contained in this middle area. Basilone's been playing, you know, blobbing's definitely not the right word. He's kind of been moving his units as a group so they can mutually support each other. And, oh no, this Zis is... what is this?
Well, he's got a friend at least.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Actually, this is a point, you were talking about commanders a little earlier. He's got 290 munitions, and he could pick the guard motor and use mark target and attack the P4, or what I would actually like to see is for him to pick advanced warfare with all those munitions banked, and instead of building a second T-34, he could have gotten a 30-45 and then used strafe on where the pack is positioned and kill the Grens or kill the pack, and probably had a really good engagement.
Not to mention the PPSHs on the conscripts.
Right, on this map, it's pretty strong ability. See, in mark target here, where he's fighting alone against this P4, he could win this fight.
Yes.
But instead, I think it looks like he'll probably lose it.
Yeah. Now, if he's... well, the Zis is all the way on the other side of the map, so that's not going to be able to contribute.
No, and he also doesn't have 18-8s yet, which means that he can't just oorah and sticky this... not sticky, 18-8 this P4.
Oh boy, these conscripts and flamers getting in a bit too deep. There's no reason to... oh, flamethrower dropped.
Well, I hope he picks it up. No. Ouch, yeah, you don't want to give a Gren or a pile with free flamethrower. It's always painful.
So we've got Zis and a Maxim moving up to where the P4 is being repaired.
He's in a really uncomfortable... this is a point... It's always... support weapons can't do what the ZIS in the north is doing. You can't leave them alone like that to be taken. It's really dangerous.
Oh boy, this other T-34 is getting beaten on by a pack. So,
just not moving. That's not...
So we do have an advanced warfare pick now.
Alright.
Oh my god.
Oh, is dropping a strafe? Yeah!
I could have used that a couple of seconds ago. Oh, wow, wipes out a Panzer Grens. Whole squad goes down. Luckily for Basilone, it wasn't the squad that had the Panzer Shrek that just popped.
Yeah, that strafe is so good. 90 munitions to kill a squad, that's a deal I'll take, I think, any day.
Now, I'm a big proponent of using hotkeys, particularly for, oh no, these conscripts are standing in their own Molotov, for support weapons. I think that's something that maybe epawli could do to keep better track of his AT guns and the like. These conscripts are in a fight they're not going to win, and epawli realizes it and sends them on back home, so they ought to be fine.
Yeah.
Get a double bet from being shot in the back, so...
He's also got conscript repair, and he's not repairing the T-34. There's oh, there. As I say that, it looks like he's finally starting. But the thing is, he's doing with a 4-man conscript, and that's going to take a long time.
Do you happen to know what the difference in efficiency is? Oh, we have another P4 out for Basilone.
My understanding actually is that a full conscript squad is the same speed repairing as a unvetted, because engineers get repair speed at vet, but as it's the same as an unvetted engineer squad.
Of course I knew that.
So it's same as a vanilla engineer, but again with 4 men he's going to lose like 33% repair speed.
Oh boy, these grenadiers have caught this Zis. Yet another
all alone.
leave it by itself, but Basilone doesn't seem to notice. They took a couple of shots at it.
Yeah, I don't think he was aware.
No.
These P4s are pushing.
Yeah, this one's in bad trouble, but now that
See, and this is a reason I prefer to keep I understand why you'd want the ZIS gun in the north in case the P4 comes up there, but you want your AT guns together because they're easily flanked by themselves, whereas if another one was further away, you couldn't circle strafe like this.
Yeah, I tend to think that, one behind and not directly behind. Okay, runaway conscript, there you go. Is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it? Some lucky conscripts this game. Okay, we have PPS now, and another T-34 coming up for epawli, and Basilone is using attack move to destroy that Zis. And these PPSHs are gonna, wow, they just, oh my god.
And that's why, I think PPSH are underused because people are so keen on the 3045s, but you can win the game pretty fast with the PPSH if you use them right and your opponent's not ready.
Yeah, send those guys straight to scary German hell.
Something kind of interesting, epawli never got healing. And I think when the game has gone on for 25 minutes, the amount of models you'll lose in each squad because they're not healed goes up. You lose more and more as the game goes on, and I think that's something he could have gotten a lot earlier. There was definitely a few periods where he had enough manpower and he could have gotten healing.
Basilone has been going around and destroying all of the dropped. This is very nice. As someone who's obsing, I can see what Basilone's building because of radio intercepts. Thank you, epawli. So Basilone just got some Panzer Grenadiers. But yeah, Basilone's been going around and attacking and destroying all the dropped weapons. Oh boy, these conscripts are actually, this is a great spot for them against these Panzer Grenadiers. Oh, don't take the, holy crap, that was a bundle.
That's a bit rough.
Oh man.
I think one of epawli's struggles, and this is something that everyone who didn't spend their whole childhood playing Brood War has, is that it's hard to play 3 engagements at once, and my personal suggestion for people who are struggling is to use the TAC map because you can retreat from the TAC map, and so you can just pop that thing open and look at all your squads and then click on them and hit T very quickly.
I will heartily second that. So Basilone's got some G43s on his Wrens, so I think he had Jaeger infantry and elite troops, so it'll be one of those that he picked.
Looks like it's Tiger Ace Doctrine, elite troops.
So, oh man,
he's not going to be ready.
Is really out of position, and it's just going to get gunned down and probably destroyed before he'll even have a chance to recover it.
Yeah.
So Basilone, looking pretty comfortable right now. He's managed to keep his units alive, and although epawli really has drained him a lot in the VPs.
I wonder what this bunker was supposed to be for Basilone. Maybe reinforce. It's certainly not faced the right way for an MG unless he was sort of planning to guard that flank.
Which bunker is that?
There's one on the cutoff.
Oh, just upgraded to a command bunker.
Okay, so it is.
Yeah. Odd place for one. I guess he expected to get pushed back some more.
Yeah, not sure about that. I mean, it would have made more sense except that he just switched his focus completely to the north, so I'm not sure why. I think he built that and then realized that he needed to hold 2 VPs and that he needed to hold the north, and so...
Yeah, that's
would have canceled the upgrade on that, though.
Oh, man.
See, here's another good example. This 18-8 here, unless you think you're going to rush in with the T-34 and kill it, I feel like it's not worth it to leave the conscript in danger. I mean, that conscript easily could have gotten wiped. And the 18-8 doesn't do enough.
In some situations, I think you can use it to guarantee your escape. But this is one where you would have been just better off
true.
Smashing down on T or whatever grid keys is for retreat. So I'm a real man. I don't use grid keys.
No, classic hotkeys. You have to use classic hotkeys.
Exactly. Whenever I tried to use grid keys, I think that retreat was mapped to R, so I was constantly trying to reinforce my squads at half tracks, just retreating in that space.
Not what you want.
Alright, so we've been talking, obviously, about epawli's game, but I'm curious what you think about Panzerschrecks in this patch for my own edification.
I think it's a
really
risk.
reluctant to get them since
I think it's a gigantic risk.
Grenadiers lost their armor.
Yeah, I mean, they're very powerful. I mean, 100 ton munitions is, I think, a reasonable price considering that they almost never miss. But the way the AOE is, any unit, it's the same reason you don't want to go MG first anymore, because there's M3s, and the worst thing you can do in COH is lose a squad and give weapons to your enemy. And right now the Panzerschrecks, it's too easy, especially when everyone's going double 30-45 call-in. One volley from both those tanks and you may lose the squad and drop a Shrek. And if you give up a Shrek, you'll frequently lose the game because of it, in my opinion. You have a Vet 3 conscript with Ura and Stickies and a Shrek, and that just ends your day. So I prefer not to get them unless I have to, or it's a map with a lot of buildings, because then you can sort of guarantee you're not going to get wiped.
Oh,
ouch.
Boy.
That's a dead conscript.
So, the big boys on the field.
Yeah, at this stage, I don't really see... He's got 300 manpower, so he could get another AT gun, but the 34s just don't cut it versus the Tiger. I think if you go T-34s, you have to be very aggressive with them in order to get your money's worth, because the heavier German armor, like the Tiger that inevitably shows up in every single 1v1, I mean, you can use T-34 76s and mark target if you've got it, in a 2v2, and then they do enough damage, but they're not going to penetrate frequently enough. And now he's kind of he's going to be in the back for the rest of the game now because of the Tiger Ace.
Now, I got big compliments to Basilone for not revealing. I mean, he got G43s, but you can get G43s, and it can be one of several commanders. But he didn't use stun grenades. He hasn't obviously been vetting any units, so he did a really good job of hiding that he picked elite troops. So
yeah, I don't think the stun grenades are good enough to warrant. I think stun grenades are okay. The Tiger Ace as a surprise is better. So I think that's a really good point. I think that I'd rather people not use them I think using the Tiger Ace as a surprise is very powerful.
Yeah, I can see these Vet 3 Grens up at the top for Basilone, who got 28 kills, so that is definitely earned Vet.
Yes.
Oh man, this T-34, I don't see him making it all the way back to base.
No, he's got the Tiger Ace here now too.
And these conscripts may suffer a similar fate. So you've always got a new T-34. Sorry, that may or may not be a new T-34 76, but his army's gotten quite small now.
Yeah, he's got 2 AT guns left, but you actually kind of you would really hope at this stage of the game, either through killing infantry or fighting the P4, they'd have Vet, because the Vet 3 gets you rate of fire and penetration, and you want that badly versus the Tiger Ace. Two vetted AT guns, actually that's enough to deter the Tiger Ace, but 2 unvetted AT guns, the Tiger Ace can drive up and decrew them. So it's really important to keep your ZIS guns alive and in combat, and then bring them back to the base and heal them and get them that vet before you get to 30 minutes into the game.
Mines as well, but I can see Basilone has also been good about using minesweepers and moving them around. Very active with that. Ouch. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Well,
I just like
it is kind of comical.
Like the explosions.
Watching the Tiger Ace just destroy things always makes me laugh too, even if it's against me. It's just it's silly how strong it is.
Yeah.
Well, if it means you can't have any manpower, I suppose that's fair.
It's not the Tiger Ace of yore, but it's still potent. Epawli is capturing BTs right now. I guess he figures that the only chance he has left is to train out. Oh, yet another Zis. Is to train out Basilone. He does have a substantial VP lead, so he's not, he's not out of this yet. But
Yeah, lack of vetted info. Basilone's done a pretty good job preserving his infantry. He's got couple. I guess he's only got a couple of vetted squads, but if your opponent's got more infantry than you at this stage of the game, it becomes impossible to hold VPs.
So, obviously, I don't want to call it before it's over, but what could... Have you noticed anything that epawli could have done differently to bring it a little more into his favor?
Yeah, a key thing, if you look at the two corpses of AT guns south of the cutoff on the left, where they all died to the Tigris, that's like the cardinal sin of using AT guns. It's sort of what I was talking about earlier. If one of them was there and the other one was further behind it, the P4 wouldn't have been able to get away, and the Tigris wouldn't have been able to flank the AT guns. You have to drive through both arcs. When you have them next to each other, it becomes way too easy to drive into the middle of them and shoot them. So having his AT guns further apart, he would have had 3 alive still, because I don't believe that he would have lost them if he had them positioned correctly. And then he would have had an opportunity to push those armor units off.
Yet another T-34-76 coming out of the base, and I'm surprised to not see any T-34-85s.
Yeah, it's what you want. They're superior to the P4, whereas the T-34 is sort of equal to them. And I think they're only. I think his issue is that they're actually pretty manpower intensive as well as fuel intensive, and he hasn't really. By the time he chose the doctrine, he was already sort of losing the manpower war. So I don't think he's ever felt comfortable. Although I agree with you, I think that when you've got as many VPs as he has, it's really good if you start losing units, but you've still got a lot of VPs, and you can get some calling units if you wait. Just wait. Let the guy take the map even a little bit, and just stall and call in your units and come back onto the field. To try to continue to fight with an inferior army and lose more and more units it's not worth it. You know, if you're not gaining anything from engagements, there's no point in engaging. You should wait until you have the unit composition you need before you bother attacking again.
Definitely. And when you do manage to take a large chunk of the map, start laying mines. They're so efficient. You're never going to regret it.
Oh my God, that conscript squad.
Yeah, they not long for this world.
No, and if this AT gun goes down, that's got to be it.
I was really hoping for a nice juicy barrage.
He didn't quite have the munitions. He's at 58 right now.
No, I can still dream. Alright, now another thing for ComputerHeat's education. G43s on Panzergrens.
I think since they don't have armor and you don't really want to charge in with them like you did before, for how expensive they are to reinforce, I don't know. They've got the STG-44, MP-44. I don't know what. I can't keep the SR rifle straight. The SR rifle they have is really good, and I don't know if I'd spend munitions.
Like nerd bullshit. We're gonna talk about that. We're just watching some games.
Whatever the classification for that assault rifle is, it's good at mid-range, and I don't think you want to close in with PGs anyway. You want to keep them at mid-range, especially against things like PPSH. I wouldn't do it. I'd put it on a Gren instead.
Yes. No.
When they had armor, it made sense to do that because you had them closing in.
Man. I see the base going down in short order, but you know, epawli's got heart. He's not just gonna lay down and die. So, fuck yeah to that.
I hope not. He could actually go get that northern VP if he could get that conscript out of the base.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a bit of a tall order.
Basilone's entire army is running back.
I think he's just keen on. He just wants to heal up. I think, which I actually, he's the guy who needs to be on the field. He's got to defend those VPs.
Yeah, I guess he feels confident. He's got.
I guess he's got a tank in the guy's base. That usually leads to confidence.
Yeah, well, I'll say that does not guarantee you a win. Conscript repair kit being very creatively used here.
Nice to see. I also like that he's got the magic Soviet technology that converts sandbags into any building.
Here comes the sneaky Zis.
Yeah, I think one shot from the Tiger Ace will put any
GG.
into any hopes he had of killing that. Yeah, there it is.
All right, that was well played by Basilone, and I really enjoyed watching that. Get that stupid machine gun ringing in my ears when the game is over. Alright, just for like pornography of war. Oh, it only got 35 kills. Ah, what a bummer. So, any final words?
Well, I think it'd be good just to go over really quickly the key mistakes of the Russian player. Overly aggressive Molotovs when it's not going to win you engagements and it's just going to bleed manpower. Not getting healing hurt. Not keeping the AT guns together. And then, perhaps most crucially, not being aggressive with the T-34 when it hit the field, because it sat around a lot defensively, and I feel like the T-34 is not a late-game armor unit. It is a mid-game unit that you use to push and be aggressive with because they're kind of cheap for armor, and you need to use them when you have them.
Definitely agree with that. Now, well, we won't go into the too many details of how to pick your commander and in conjunction with T3, T4, whatever you like, since by the time he picked it, it was well late into the game and he was already taking advantage of the tier buildings that he'd made.
Yeah, although I do, again, he picked really late, and a lot of the abilities in that doctrine he picked would have helped him out in the mid-game and the early game. So I think by the time you've got tier 3 up and your opponent's got tier 3 up, it's usually you need to have picked by then.
Yeah, particularly Soviets.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of the German doctrines are pretty late game oriented, but not the Soviet ones.
So yeah, it's a good cast. Thank you, epawli, for sending the replay. I hope that you get some out of this. And thanks, DanielD, for joining me to show this.
My pleasure.
All right, great. Bye-bye, folks.